of Hilork fighter Giac of Zen. Time for some more abyss crawling. I updated my skill training off screen. I'm bringing these normally tertiary skills up to secondary, which means a marginal cost of 10. Since the abyss is all about endurance, which means you want to lean on your, for warriors, they want to lean on their MP regeneration to supplement their HP. So casting becomes more important. Because if your MP is at full, then that regen is wasted. Plus with Zen I can vitalize and then crystal ball to regain MP, which is very effective. So he can cast more than he should be able to as a Hilork. Some enemies just are countered by casting, such as Raiju. Their poor MR makes them easy prey to hexes. Profane Servitor with a Whip of Venom. I'll recite immediately, since I expect this to be a 2-recite fight. I decide to take out the Abomination first, because the Servitor will be a long fight. Get my Shroud up. So there's no sense in permitting this Servitor to start profitably regenerating yet, until I've dealt with the lesser threat. Nothing I can do to him much with spells, except for Shroud. And he nailed me that time. He doesn't resist fire, so I'm using the Flame Axe. And he's getting poison on me despite my poise, so I decide to vitalize. Thereby rendering poison a non-issue. Better than Purify versus poison. And the Flame Axe does well. And the Freet, weakness is MR, and RC minus. Makes a lot of noise. I create a Mana Viper and send it to attack the World Binder. Reciting attracts that star-cursed mass. Probably wasn't the best move to do that, so I decide to retreat rather than fight a star-cursed with other enemies and without a funnel. Raiju and Rakshasa fear away the Raiju, so I can take down the Rakshasa first before he gets rolling. Summon a miscast Mana Viper. Wretched Star arrives. Pretty sure I'm wearing Reflection at this point, so it's not really an issue. Slow down that Raiju. Corona him. Venom, since he likes to run away. Reflect the Wretched Star's orb. Just a Thrashing Horror left. No problem with the polearm. There's the exit. Drop off my loot. Enchant Weapon goes on the Sacred Scourge, since I'm largely facing wholly vulnerable monsters. Cyclops. Should have realized this was a shapeshifter. It's not a common monster in the Abyss. Turn on Shroud to prevent her from touch drowning. Her transformation got rid of the slow. And Recite took care of it. Move in the direction of obstruction so that I limit the amount of contact that I can pull due to having a smaller line of sight. Six poison javelins. Don't know when I would use those really. Oh, last time I said something inaccurate. TRJ does spawn jellies when he's tormented now. So, yeah, I've decided that it's not worthwhile to Phantom Mirror him because a lot of his strength is the fact that he spawns jellies, which the mirrored one doesn't, and he resists acid, so he resists his own attacks. It's not very effective, and he gets wrecked by the Azure jellies, so it's not that great. I mean, if you need a way to spawn the initial pack of jellies, then that's certainly a valid way to do it. You can Phantom Mirror him, cause some quick damage, and then, assuming you're lignified, torment, which will create yet more jellies, and some of the ones that were already out will be at half HP, which will make it easier to detonate. So, I mean, given how important speed is in the TRJ fight, I can see doing Phantom Mirror for that reason. It's not like there are that many opportunities to use Phantom Mirror anyway. Most of the things you want to mirror have high MR, and if it has high MR, then you'd want to vulnerability it. Which is obviously dangerous. Yeah, but the Torment, Immolation 1-2 punch is very effective on TRJ. And since it is an extremely predictable fight, can bring in the Phantom Mirror, since otherwise you're not even going to carry it, and use it there to get the initial damage to spawn the initial pack that will be tormented along with TRJ. So I guess the sequence is haste, resistance, lig, phantom, and then when the phantom dies, which you want to happen quickly, 4 times out, so that's why you don't do a Vuln scroll first, then torment, MO, scattershot or equivalent, ice blast, whatever. Lich, but I've got the Mana Viper on my side. Just thinking about how to manage my RN. The Recite distracted the Tentacled Star Spawn, so safe enough to use the Sling. Get the RN for the Draining Bolt. Necosec is popcorn. And somewhere in here, Beogh is gonna forgive and forget finally. Which means can start diving to Abyss 2. See how that goes before you start double diving. So yeah, the sequence I just said, and then for TRJ, and then Portal Projectile and Net when he's low HP to hold him in the fire is good. And to hold him in the middle of the pack for additional detonations. The popular strategies revolve around getting into melee with TRJ and face tanking him, which I just think is fundamentally wrong and not what you want to do. Because he's fast, he hits real hard, and every time you hit him, you get acid burn, just like when attacking an acid blob. So he has no ranged attack. So that's his obvious weakness, is holding him at distance. So why wouldn't you exploit that? Zen's list of abilities granted is so long. I think I figure out that Beogh has forgiven me. Has he? Cacodemon poses no threat now. Except that energy bolt, I don't think I can reflect it actually, so it's a waste to switch amulets. Blizzard Demon. Got to get my Arlec ring equipped. And then after TRJ is dead, it's pack mop-up time, which is all about speed before one gets heavily corroded, particularly while lignified. So I think Berserk is the right move. Between Tree Form and Berserk, one's HP just becomes stratospheric, and Tree grants a 2-hit bonus. Berserk grants damage bonuses, obviously, strength. Yeah, so the Beogh Wrath is no more. Meaning it's time for Abyss 2. It's also a good idea to bring a cancellation during that fight in case one has to exit Tree Form to avoid death, but obviously one would rather spend the Berserk than cancellation. Down we go to Abyss 2. Golden Dragon Simulacrum. I go for the goodies first. I probably should have slowed the Simulacrum first, but it's pretty squishy. And I've got 2 pips of MR. Since I did get yanked away immediately, it was the right move to secure those goodies. Not going to go for Abyss 3 yet. The minus telly sling is handy for avoiding unwanted random Abyss teleports. Wretched Star. Just a question of reflection and railgun. There's the exit. Drop off the goodies. Not in a hurry to get the rune. Magic mapping scrolls are excellent insurance against shafts. Always happy to add those to my collection. Built up a huge amount of gold, so if I hit a bazaar, I'll be able to clean it out. Or if I expend a bunch of piety, I can just buy it back. There's a bit more than I really want to take on at once. So I back off, pass wall OP. Star-cursed mass would be dividing while the dragon was pushing me around, and the apocalypse crab spitting clouds all over everything is just no thanks. I'd be likely to get berserked, given that I'm resistant to a lot of negative status effects with vitalization. Got sticky flamed by the smoke demon. Yeah, I'm actually excited now to fight TRJ in the future in a real game. I think that's a very strong combo. Just head out until you see TRJ, quaff the haste, get into the tight corridor. Quaff the leg and resistance, phantom to do some initial damage. Then when it vanishes, you're already lignified, and when it vanishes, torment. Immolation, scatter shot. Portal projectile, net, berserk, cleanup. It should be a very short fight with very little damage taken. That's the way I like it. Very little opportunity for things to go wrong with unlucky rolls on acid damage penetrating arc corrosion, causing corrosion stacks. And one of the major dangers, the azure jellies, will be countered hard by the immolation. So that just leaves death oozes, which are, they don't do negative energy damage, but they do rotting damage, which is pretty trivial in tree form, given the HP bonus, and very trivial once you throw berserk in. I should say pretty minor and trivial. All that's going to cost is a curing at the end of the fight, which are very cheap at that point. Here's a vault. Looks like fun. It's just an Abyss 1 vault, and we're ready for 2 and probably 3 as well. So I decide I'm going to go for it. See how much damage I can do with Recite. I guess the idea is you jump in there and then convert to Lagonu so you can exit the Abyss to avoid dying. And the gamble is, can you get to the altar? So that's fun. There's some stuff here I want, like mutation and lignification. And this looks like some artifacts. So I'm just rocking and rolling with the oh, the spatial maelstrom did that. Knocked me out of there. I thought it was just unlucky abyss effect, but no, it was, right, I think it was actually the maelstrom responsible. I wonder if I could have handled that differently. Yeah, I could have blinked randomly to avoid being adjacent to the spatial maelstrom. And then just used AoE or whatever to try to prune the Starcurse masses. It's a little bit tricky because if I blink away from axing the Starcurse masses, they're really going to multiply. So that's not ideal. But again, I've got sanctuaries, so I could have just sanctuaried in the middle there and then apported the stuff I wanted. See, I'll call that my mistake. Or an acceptable risk of just not getting the gear. Something silent this way comes. Silent Spectre. I can't recite all those spatial vortexes, so I just decide to leave. It's like the Silent Spectre is moving towards me, but I get out. Bone Dragon isolated. Good opportunity to take him out. But there's nothing fixing me to this position, so I don't have to make a stand here. I can recite and run, showing the true power of Zen in the Abyss. I like this choke point, so I'll engage here. And that wretched star did me a big favor, firing those energy orbs that reflected and hurt the Bone Dragon. Much appreciated. Don't want this guy to stat drain me, so I vitalized. Here's another Silent Spectre. Has quite the field of influence. Not that I'm terribly bothered. I'm melee and skirmishing are my two strongest capabilities. Raiju. The slow is long lasting, so I put that on both at once, and then first, and then the Corona has a shorter duration, so I add that to just the one I'm currently killing. And I think I got some chunks before I got yanked away, so it's all good. Good time for a recite. Full house of freaks. There's the gate. Didn't manage to dive that time. "23 scrolls of teleportation. That is ridiculous." So yeah, I'm definitely making a profit in the Abyss. Normally you expect your teleport scrolls to gradually reduce in count while running the Abyss, but obviously Giac is far too strong for Abyss 1. My stealth is getting quite respectable, particularly with Vitalize up. Got 2 pips. Not surprising at 19 dex. The fact that dex gets so high with Vitalize means that it's definitely worthwhile to train dodging higher to take advantage of that and get a high EV. Well, now it's to 14. I guess I switched my gear up. Here's a Death Knight. Get the slow on him first. Always. And the Takima's Dance for a source of damage that I don't care if it gets reflected on. Plus I don't have to worry about him doing anything to me. Get out the Quick Blade. Go for Confusing Touch. Now he's not going to cast anymore. I can just knife him. More than one way to skin a Death Knight. Poison the Apocalypse Crab. Call the Mana Viper to help out with the Worldbinder. Fire through the elves. He'll help with the Eye of Draining as well. Blizzard Demon. Vulnerable to fire. Easy kill. Now that my RC problems are taken care of by those gauntlets, it's definitely a good choice. Swap those out. Scroll of Silence will be handy for lich duty, certainly. Ancient liches, rather. Poison the crab, switch to the axe. There's the exit. I'm not having much luck with diving. Train conjurations and dodging up to 10 marginal cost. Which is secondary. I think my only conjuration right now is Dazzling Spray, which I've never used. But in theory, it's good for blinding. The power bar is about maxed out. We probably have an opportunities to use it. I just have too many options on this character. Plus, somehow I feel that the Abyss does not put a large emphasis on blindable monsters. At least not in triplicate. Didn't notice my MP was leaking away. That's a good reason to read the text when fighting. Finally catch on. There's the door down. My MP is too low to take it right now, though. Too poor to even apport. So I'll try to rest to regain my MP. Strong Sling is crucial in the Abyss for taking out those Star-Cursed masses. I've had this sling forever. Go ahead and gaze into the crystal ball at around half and it works. Gaze again to go to full. And down to Abyss 2. No, 29 potions of curing. Nice, the Book of Battle. That is a clutch find. Infusion, Song of Slaying, and Spectral Weapon. Infusion is obviously useless at this point, but the other two are huge and mutually reinforcing. Spectral Weapon kills count as your own kills for the purposes of Song of Slaying, and this character recites anyway, so he likes being noisy. In the Abyss, Spectral Weapon is handy for countering the Star-Cursed Masses, as is Song of Slaying. And the Abyss tries to overwhelm with continual reinforcements. So, Song of Slaying is great for that as well. So now it's time to Amnesia Fulminant Prism, because fundamentally I don't do damage. I don't trade MP for damage. I trade MP for utility. So Fulminant Prism is kind of utility in that it's an AoE bomb that you can set while running away, but it's only at half power, and I think it's not very competitive for the XL compared to my other abilities. Conjurations is only a secondary skill, so. And I have valuable uses for my MP, so I don't want to spend it directly for damage. Much rather spend it on Spectral Weapon and Song of Slaying than FP. I also got rid of Swiftness, which might seem counterintuitive since I'm going to be focusing more on charms. But I have so many haste potions from farming the Abyss that I just don't need Swiftness right now. And also Swiftness has a lengthy slowdown period, which is not very safe in the Abyss. So just spending the haste makes more sense if I need to go fast. And that's it. The rest is out of combat administration. So I'll stop the audio commentary there. Thanks for watching.